In this video, we're going to show you everything you need to know in order to properly set up and connect the Rode NT1 Condenser Microphone with the Volt 276 audio interface. Now, this doesn't matter if you're just shopping or you just want to hear how it sounds, or if you have a whole heap of equipment in front of you and you're trying to figure out how it works, this video will work for you. It also doesn't matter which version of the Rode NT1 that you're using. This video has all the tips and tricks that you need in order to set it up properly, whether or not you're using the Rode NT1A, the 4th gen, the 5th gen, or the Signature Series version of the Rode NT1 that we're using in this video today. Now, for the purposes of this video today, right now you are listening to the Neat King B2. We picked this microphone because it does compare nicely to the Rode NT1, so you will be able to hear a comparison throughout this video as well. There's a logo up in the top corner here, so you always know what microphone you're listening to. Obviously, you can't be listening to the Rode NT1 right now because we haven't set it up and connected it to everything. Once we set everything up and connect it, that will switch to a logo of the Rode NT1, so you can tell what we're dealing with here. Now, if you are looking for pricing or specs for anything that you see in this video, any of the cables or adapters or anything like that, we do have links down in the description down below where you can find everything in this video from a variety of online retailers to make sure that you are getting the best price possible. Now, first things first, let's talk about what you get in the box if you buy the Rode NT1 and the Volt 276. With the Rode NT1, you actually get a lot of gear with the microphone. This isn't common with a lot of microphones. Not only do you get the microphone, but you get the shock mount, a pop filter, and an XLR cable. Normally I have to talk about which XLR cable to buy and all that, but you get good quality XLR cables with the Rode NT1, and it really is a complete kit there. With the Volt 276, you get the audio interface, you get a software package, and you get the USB cables that you need in order to connect this to your computer. Really, the only thing that you're missing when you buy either of these items together as a kit is you're missing some type of a microphone stand. When it comes to a mic stand, you really have two options. One, you can use a boom arm like we have in this video. I'm using the Rode PSA 1 Plus. This is my favorite boom arm right now. Or you can use a cheap, inexpensive table stand or floor mic stand or something like that. Obviously, if you're in a situation like this, where you're using this at a desk, I really do recommend a boom arm. The Rode NT1 comes with a pretty good shock mount, but it's not perfect. So I always do recommend some type of a boom arm if you're using that. So the first thing that we're going to do here before we can do anything else is we need to connect our Rode NT1 into its shock mount kit here. So I'm just going to move the pop filter out of the way, put this on. You'll notice that there's a gold dot on the Rode NT1. That should be facing the source that you're recording. So if you're using a pop filter, this should be facing the pop filter and then facing the source that you're recording. Once that's tight, then we can connect the whole shock mount kit that we just built to our microphone boom arm. For me, I always prefer to hang these upside down. It does not matter if you hang it right side up or upside down. As long as that gold dot is facing the source, that's the most important thing. Next, in terms of microphone positioning, again, do make sure that that gold dot is pointed right towards you. You want your microphone about 9 inches away from you, pointed directly at you. Now, depending on what you're doing, some people prefer to have the microphone right in front of them, and some people prefer to have the microphone just slightly off to the side. For me, since I mostly make video content, it makes a lot of sense to have the microphone just off to the side so there's not a microphone in front of my face. That being said, you also do get better plosive protection by having the microphone just off to the side. Those P and B sounds sound a lot nicer if the microphone's off to the side, but still some people do prefer to have it right in front of them. In terms of the pop filter here, a lot of people, there's some debate about this, but you want to have it down, centered on the capsule, and some people prefer to lean it back, some people prefer it flat. For this video, I'm going to lean it back towards the microphone. Just make sure it's not actually touching the microphone there. That won't do you any favors at all. Next, we can connect the Rode NT1 to the Volt 276. To do that, we're going to use the XLR cable that came with this microphone. I'm going to connect it to the bottom of the microphone now. Then I'm going to make sure I run the cable nice and neat. You don't want to have the cable too tight on the microphone or anything like that. You want to make sure it's nice and neat. You run it down the stand, and then you can connect it into the front of the Volt 276. For this video today, we're going to use microphone channel number 1. I'm going to take my XLR cable and connect it right to the front of the audio interface into the first channel here. Now the Rode NT1 is a condenser microphone. Condenser microphones have a slightly different technology than a dynamic microphone, and that means that they require an external phantom power supply. On the front of the Universal Audio Volt 276, you can see that there is a 48 volt power supply button, so we need to click that on now. You'll see that there is a red flashing light as it's turning on. Once it goes solid, you know that your phantom power supply is active for this microphone. This isn't a matter of making the microphone sound better or worse. The microphone literally will not work without this, so you need to do this in order to get the Rode NT1 to work properly with your audio interface. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to adjust our preamp on the Volt 276 so we can have an appropriate recording level on our computer. The microphone level signal from any microphone is just tiny, so we need to bump that up to a line level signal. For my preference, as we turn this up, I'm going to turn it up right now, we can look over at the computer here, and what I want to be doing is I want to be peaking somewhere between -18 and -12. You can see here right now that I'm peaking at -14.8, and you can hear this microphone now for the first time. The reason that you don't want to have this higher than -12 at your loudest moment is because you want that extra headroom. If you turn this up too much, it will peak, clip, and distort and ruin your recording. So if you're at all worried about overperforming or adding more emotion to your recording or laughing during a podcast or a live stream or anything like that, then I do highly recommend that you maintain this amount of headroom because it will protect your recording. I'm going to quickly demonstrate what it sounds like if you turn this up too much. If you turn up the gain too much here and you're peaking at 0 dB, you can hear now that it's clipping, peaking, and distorting, and this audio is completely ruined. I'm going to turn this back down now. Reset my peak meter so I know where I'm at. So that's a good example of how you need to set your gain correctly in order to get a clean recording or live stream or whatever you're doing. Next, let's walk through some of the features on the Volt 276 so you can hear how they sound as well. The unique part of the 76 series of the Volt series is that you get a built-in compressor. So far it's been turned off. Let's turn it on right now. This is the vocal compressor. So this is basically designed for what I'm doing right now. Talking head recording. I don't want to mess with the audio after the fact, but I want to compress. What does a compressor do? It basically narrows the dynamic range of your recording. I didn't know what that meant when I first got into audio. Basically, it makes your quieter moments louder and your loudest moments quieter. So this will, again, be a useful tool in preventing you from peaking and clipping. It'll also help you not have to turn up or down the volume as much. If you get quieter, it'll kind of compress that up for you. And if you get really loud, it'll squish it down for you. So you're not riding the volume knob throughout your whole recording. Let's hear how some of the other modes sound. Here's the guitar compression mode. Again, this is optimized for guitar. Next, we have a fast attack mode. This is something that I would use if I'm recording a kick drum or something like this. If I'm using a vocal, I would probably use the vocal preset on this, and then we can turn it off just to kind of reset our sound here. Now, another unique feature on the Volt 276 is that it has a built-in vintage mode. You can't see the label the way that the camera is set up here, but there you can see it. There's a vintage mode and then it has a button there. So if we click this button on now, the vintage mode of the Volt 276 does two different things. One, it gives you a boost of the upper air frequencies, and two, it gives just a little bit of analog distortion, some character to emulate the old preamps that were super popular back in the 80s and 90s and that type of thing. People used to like driving those old analog preamps. They'd push them really hard until they distorted a little bit. They love the character that that brought. Now in the digital era, that is emulated and added as a bolt-on feature in the Volt 276. So if you did love that old sound and you want to put that into your recording, you can do that with the press of a button now. I'm going to turn this off now. I hope this video has been helpful, but if you do still have any questions about this setup, please leave a comment down in the comment section below. Again, if you are looking for pricing or specs for anything you see in this video, please check out the links down in the description below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.